I'm joined now by Minister of State with responsibility for EU affairs and defence, Jennifer Carroll McNeill. You're very welcome to the programme, Minister.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello from Brussels.
Ostensibly, you're with us to talk about the two-day summit in Brussels, but I do have to get your reaction to what you've been hearing there from Captain Mark Tighe.
Well, I'm just thinking about kids finishing up in school and looking forward to holidays, thinking about our tourism business, all of whom have been looking forward to a good summer, and would urge both parties to get back in the room. There will always be a resolution to these. We have a structure where there can be a resolution, but people need to get back into the room and discuss it. I think at this time of year, when people have paid enormous amounts of money and planned holidays and looked forward to them, and tourism business is dependent on people coming into Ireland, that, people have perhaps less interest in the fine details of the back and forth on the media and much more interest in people getting back into a room and getting a resolution. You heard
Mark Tighe say that it is an option, an all-out strike. How disastrous would that be for the country?
Let me not even comment on that. It would be so significant, and let me encourage everybody to get back in a room and find a resolution, because that's what's in the interest of Irish business, that's what's in the interest of Irish people, and it's in the interest of the industry more broadly.
Do you think the Labour Court should have a review sooner than July? Is there any way that they can entice parties back and that they can intervene meaningfully before then?
At the end of the day, the Labour Court and the industrial relations architecture is there to provide support and help. But like everything, it requires the parties to actually to go and to do that. And I know that there's been discussions today, but the only way this is resolved is people getting back into a room. And there's no other way of saying that, Cormac. There has to be a resolution to this. And so they need to speak to each other and to get on with it, as I am confident they will do. The quicker that they can do it and the more constructive and that can be, the easier it will be for families right across Ireland and businesses right across Ireland to have this stress removed at the end of June, going into July, when everybody looks to the additional flights that are needed all over the place.
Two more quick questions more on this. One is, do you think that it's the pay claim is reasonable, and do you think it's reasonable of the company to ask pilots to part finance that, in their own words?
I think the least helpful thing I can do is comment on the details of it. It is for the parties to come to discuss that between themselves and to find a resolution to it.
Okay, my final question is on the escalation, some of which we discussed there, an all-out strike, a possibility of, but also IALPA saying that that Aer Lingus, in their view, is threatening to terminate collective agreements if they don't fulfil certain obligations. How do you roll back on escalation in a situation like this? What would you advise?
Well, what I would advise them, again, is to go back into a room and find a resolution, because I think the public's patience for this is going to wear very thin very quickly, as they are having to refinance holidays, as our tourism business is under pressure, looking at tourists who are coming here to spend money and support our economy right across the island. And patience is going to wear thin quickly, and that the sooner they get back into the room and sort this out, the better. There is an infrastructure there that the state has created that is dependable and reliable. At the end of the day, people need to get it back in a room and sort it out.
Okay, can I move on for a second and talk to you about your things within your own portfolio, because we know that there's a two-day EU summit with all the party heads, or the member state heads, and this is ostensibly to talk about the nomination of Ursula von der Leyen for a second term as European Commission President. Now, the Taoiseach has suggested that Fianna Fáil MEP should think of the national interests, he says, when considering whether or not to vote for Ursula von der Leyen to have a second term as European Commission President. They have said on the record that they won't support Ursula von der Leyen. Should they reconsider, in your opinion?
Well, that's not on the table really today. That's a matter for the MEPs in a couple of weeks' time. What is on the table today is a whole series of a bumper agenda really related to Ukraine, related to the Middle East, which is being discussed now, relating to security, relating to competitiveness. And at the end of the day, they will speak about the different positions that the Council agree as a package represent the democratic outcome right across the European Union for the position of President of the European Council, President of the Commission, and the foreign affairs role that exists within the EU as well. And those are agreed as a package reflecting the democratic outcome. And so that's what's being discussed much later today, after the other work, the very important work of the European Council. And then it is later a matter for the Parliament to agree or not the names that have been put forward by the Council. But there is no other name.
It's coming down the track quite quickly. And it's, as you say, it's almost inevitable. There is no other name. So should they reconsider? Because I just wonder, if Michael McGrath is nominated by Ireland and Fianna Fáil MEPs are voting against Ursula von der Leyen, could it impact the type of portfolio that he would get?
Look, at the end of the day, Ursula von der Leyen is going to be predominantly deciding the which portfolio, which commission everybody is going to get. And again, the Parliament is going to have to vote not just on the appointment of Ursula von der Leyen and the other positions, but they're also going to have to vote on the commissioners themselves, the whole college of commissioners. So there's actually two votes. One is to give the authority to an individual to create that college, and then the next is to vote on the whole college. So there's more than one vote, and we would like to see Ireland represented in the strongest possible way across Europe. We are very proud of Michael McGrath. We are very proud to send our finance minister. It is a real statement of seriousness and intent about Europe.
So you're saying
there are other countries doing the same thing.
Sorry, you're saying it could be counterproductive for Fianna Fáil MEPs to vote against Ursula von der Leyen?
What I'm saying is that we certainly want to put Ireland in the best possible position to have the strongest portfolio that we can. I am aware, for example, other countries are considering sending their finance ministers. There's speculation about Austria. So we're trying to, send one of our heaviest hitters, our most experienced and senior politicians, so that we can have the best outcome and influence for Ireland. And, the reality of the politics is that there is a package being proposed by the whole council that the MEPs get to vote on or not. They don't get to propose a different name. That isn't how this works. And then they will vote on the College of Commissioners, who will, I very much hope, include Michael McGrath in a very senior position. And we will be working to try to achieve that for him.
Can I ask you on another matter that the Taoiseach is there in Brussels? I hope he's okay on a personal level, because he's spoken about the bomb hoax at his house. He said it was intended to intimidate and upset his family. What is your reaction to this? This seems like another escalation in what we talked about before.
I am. It's easier for me to be very angry on the Taoiseach's behalf, because he's the person who had. We came over here early this morning. He has been working all day. I'm sure he is thinking about his family at home. Last night he was in the Dáil, and this is happening to his young family and his lovely wife. And it is intimidating. There's no relief, honestly, in saying, "Oh, look, it's only a hoax," or "It wasn't real." It's another event. He's been Taoiseach for 11 or 12 weeks. This is the third such event. It is simply unacceptable, and we can't allow ourselves to use language that legitimizes it or makes it softer or okay, or it is all part of a pattern of intimidation in politics, intimidation in democratic life, in public life. We want people to contribute to public life. We want to serve the community, and the Taoiseach should be able to be free to focus entirely on Ireland's interests, on representing Ireland's interests, and not have to worry about his very young family and the fright that it gives young children to have to respond and see a different level of security around their house, but potentially in their house as things are investigated. No family should have to go through that, and the Taoiseach is no exception.
OK, Minister of State with responsibility for EU affairs and defence, Jennifer Carroll McNeil.